Parkers in the Hall of Fame. The Cobras in the Hall of Fame. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. The call came after all this time. And in Parker's case, at the age of 73, from one of those Hall of Fame committees that goes back through history and tries to, I guess you could say, right some wrongs along the way, make sure that they properly review players who might have been overlooked by the Baseball Writers Association of America. And they decided last night in Dallas on a vote of 16 individuals, 14 of them voted yes to Parker, more than the 3/4 that was needed. And you want to know something? They did. They did right or wrong. They really did. Take that from somebody who's one of those BBWAA voting members, meaning that I vote every year. It's actually this time of year. It's this month on the standard ballot on which a player can appear for 10 years. If they don't ever make that 75% figure after 10 years, they're off the ballot, and that's that. For most players, it really is that. You hear that from them. They put it out of their minds. They don't think about it, certainly not after the 10th year. A lot of them will tell you they stopped thinking about it before that, but I don't know if that's actually true, especially if they're coming close or they're showing progress in their voting numbers, as most players will also end up with their highest figure in their 10th and final year. I never had a chance, obviously, to vote for Parker. His 10-year period was way before my time. I got to tell you, I'd have done it in a heartbeat. And believe it or not, that has, well, I don't want to say nothing to do with being a lifelong Pittsburgher and someone who as a child was just infatuated with those Lightning and Lumber Pirates teams. Because, of course, it's going to influence you, especially when you see a player more often. You appreciate them more. That's just kind of common sense. I got to see Parker do things that, to me, were really special. The hitting, the consistency at the plate, the power, the production, the ability to go to all fields, to spray the ball, to come up with the big hit at the big moment. And in the field, I almost would kind of take this one a little personally because Roberto Clemente was legitimately before my time. He passed when I was 6 years old. So I never got to see that arm. I would hear about that arm, but I didn't really want to hear too much about it because I had my own guy. You know, I had Parker in right field. I had that cannon. And then, of course, 1979 came along, and here again, I mean, I was 13 years old. My recollection of most of that is either faded into nothingness or has just been rekindled by watching footage from the series, or way best of all, getting to know some of these people and having them tell me the stories from that series, stories behind the scenes. The late Chuck Tanner was gracious enough to do that with me on more than one occasion. But Parker's in. Parker's in. And there's no reason he shouldn't have been. I say this a lot when I talk about Hall of Fame discussions on this show. But to me, at some point or other, you had to have been considered the best player in your league. Unless there's an extraordinary circumstance, like if you're in the American League right now with Shohei Ohtani or whatever, wherever it is you want to put Juan Soto in that hierarchy. But if you're in a league stuck behind someone like that, yeah, it's going to be a little bit rough. But Parker was the National League MVP in 1978, led the league with one of his 2 batting titles, hit .334, 30 home runs, 117 RBIs. In 1977, he batted .338, 44 doubles that year. He was a 7-time All-Star, a 3-time Gold Glove winner in right field. And what just has to be the coolest stat of all, not necessarily the most impressive, but the coolest, is that from 1975 to 79, 79, of course, being the family's world championship, in that 5-year period, he had 72 assists, 72 outfield assists. I mean, he was just routinely racking up 20, 25, whatever. And if you really want to have fun with that, you can go back to when Clemente came onto the Pirates and try to picture why anyone would have run on any Pirates right fielder over a span of about 3 decades. So yeah, he's in. And for anybody who doesn't know, Parker is battling Parkinson's disease. He has for a while, but he has not apparently lost any of the edge for which he was famous. And on the Zoom call that he had with reporters last night, this was how he described his reaction to hearing the news.
Made me feel great. Made my mother. I delivered a promise to my mother. I was going to buy a house, and I did that. So I felt great.
If you aren't familiar with the reference, when he says he told his mother, he's going way back to when he was 8 years old and told his mother, promised her, that he was going to grow up to be a big league ball player. Well, he grew up to be one of the best. That was always true. Now it's just certified. When we come back, J1Q.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragechek.org. That's gunstoragechek.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Abandon ship, Bob. Sell the team. Are you a Pirates fan who is angry or apathetic about our perennial losing baseball team? Do you feel helpless because you don't know how to make a difference? Well, good news. We have something you can do about it. Join our Sell the Team movement. We're a group of passionate fans voicing our frustration and demanding change through billboard campaigns, press outreach, protests, and involvement at local city government meetings. Go to ourteamnothis.com to get involved.
Today's J1Q comes from Britt, who asks, DK, is somebody who grew up a New York Mets fan, this Juan Soto signing is the poster child signing for why Major League Baseball needs a salary cap, which of course would necessarily include a salary floor. I got almost nothing for you, Britt. I saw the Soto numbers last night that you're referencing. 15 years, $765 million, the largest contract in the history of organized sport. There's nothing anyone can really even compare it to. Shohei Ohtani's maxed out at 700, and there's even escalator clauses where after, 4 or 5 years, he can have an additional $4 million per year tacked on. Like, think about that. Just that alone. Like, you're sitting there, you're signing a contract for guaranteed $765, and you're not getting enough. You know, you need that escalator after the 4th year. I could make this just one of those senseless screeds against how much some athletes are being paid. I can make it one of those screeds about the cap. I've had more than my share of those. But you know what I really see within this more than anything? I see unhappy fans of the Yankees. That's what I see. The Yankees apparently came incredibly within striking distance of that offer, even though they don't, unlike the Mets, have an offer who describes his ownership of the Mets as being philanthropy. That's Steve Cohen's terminology, not mine. He said that that's just how he sees it. He's not basing what he pays on anything other than his, meaning him, his ability to pay it. And that's why I always say, anytime I bring up something like, well, owners don't pay out of their own pockets to fund their teams, I now have to make an exception for this individual because he's been doing it for about 3 years now. Unapologetically and unflinchingly, the Mets are the great exception. Even the Dodgers, they do things within the business. They do things within the incredible amount of money that they make on their local TV deals. The Mets don't. The Mets are just, where's my wallet? One guy, where's my wallet? He decided he was going to go to war with the crosstown Yankees on this. Whatever the Yankees were going to offer, he was going to offer more. And one very common refrain on this program, the athlete will always go where there's the most money. This is the best ever example of that, by the way. And there he went. And now you have not one, but two teams in the National League that are spending beyond anybody's recognition of whatever Major League Baseball's economic system used to look like. And they're in the National League. And no, for all the changes to the playoff format, there's still no way to circumvent that to get to the World Series. You gotta go through your league. So the hopelessness element, it now includes New York and Chicago and all of the other big spending, big market teams. That problem has never been, and I've been consistent on this, unique to Pittsburgh. Never. Does Bob Nutting spend enough? No. I believe he's about 20 million shy. At the least 10 million shy of where he should be. Would that make any dent at all in the monstrous gap that now exists, not just between the Pirates and the Mets/Dodgers, but the various teams that are like legitimately trying to spend with these teams, to compete with these teams financially? Because those two are raising the bar, and all people like Scott Boras care about is what their guy gets. The end. And what the player cares about is what he gets. If you think any of them are losing one wink of sleep over, oh no, what will this do to baseball in Pittsburgh or Kansas City or Cleveland or Baltimore or Milwaukee, well, then I can show you that the Brewers just lost, as they knew they would, by the way, Willie Adames, to a $182 million guaranteed contract that didn't even qualify as a footnote on this particular day. The sport is so spectacularly broken. And you know what I say to that? Good. Break it further. If Yankees fans are unhappy with the financial system in baseball, all it takes, my friends, is 23 votes. And remember, the union doesn't have to agree. No union ever in sports history agreed to a salary cap. I appreciate the question. I especially appreciate you referencing the salary cap as being a system that always includes a floor and a tight range between the two. Let's do another one of these tomorrow.